In this episode of Pop Culture Weekly, I talk with the stars of Caddo Lake, including Dylan O'Brien, who returns, and Eliza Scanlen, and I talk to the cast of Teacup, the really creepy series on Peacock right now, Scott Speedman, Yvonne Strahovski, and more. Let's go!
Welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon from iHeartRadio. Your pop culture news, views, reviews, and celebrity interviews on all the movies, TV, music, and pop culture you crave weekly. Here's Kyle McMahon.
Hello and welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon. It's an October episode, and you know that I love Halloween. I love spooky season. I love horror. So this is a great episode for all of you fellow, spooky horror lovers. I talk with the cast of Caddo Lake, which is a HBO Max film written and directed by Celine Held and Logan George, who I speak with. And it stars Dylan O'Brien, Eliza Scanlen, Eric Lang, Lauren Ambrose, and guess who serves as producer of that film? M. Night Shyamalan himself. And you know I love M. Night. And this film is really amazing. It is available right now on Max. Caddo Lake is about a 8-year-old girl who disappears on Caddo Lake, which is a real place. And then a series of past deaths and, mysterious disappearances all begin to link together. It is extremely great. I really, really loved it. Very spooky, twisty, thrillery. I really highly recommend you watch it. It is well worth your time, especially at spooky season. It doesn't have to be because it's, a great thriller, but it's perfect for spooky season. So I speak with the filmmakers, Celine Held and Logan George, as well as Dylan O'Brien returns once again. We talk about the film, and Eliza Scanlen, and also Teacup, which is this incredible horror series on Peacock, produced by Ian McCulloch and James Wan. I love James Wan. And it stars Yvonne Strahovski, who you may know as the multi-Emmy nominated actor from such series as The Handmaid's Tale and Chuck and Dexter and 24. And Scott Speedman, who I love Scott. He kind of became big with Felicity, the series Felicity, and then played Michael Corvin in the Underworld film franchise. He's been in XXX State of the Union, The Strangers, which is one of my favorite scary movies ever. And for Grey's Anatomy fans, Dr. Nick Marsh, who he has played on and off for a long time. So he joins me as well. So let's get right into this all-spooky episode of Pop Culture Weekly. We are going to start off with the cast and filmmakers behind Teacup. So let's talk to Ian McCulloch, who is executive producer and writer, as he gives us some insight into how he took Teacup from a beloved book to a series. Let's speak with him, Ian McCulloch.
First of all, thank you, Ian, for speaking with me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, sure. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So first of all, congratulations on Teacup. I absolutely love it. I'm a huge genre fan, and this does an amazing job of not only being great genre work, but it's very layered, and it's a great drama. There's family stuff going on. It's so layered, and I really appreciate that as a fan. So thank you.
Well, thank you. That's really good to hear.
So tell me about why why you were attracted to this project, and also taking it from a book, but not. You kind of took the essence of the book, and kind of did it your own way. What was that important to you, and why was it important for you to do this project, and why did you decide to do it in the way you did?
James Wan's company came to me with the book, and they said, here's a book, we're looking for somebody to adapt it. Would you give it a read? And I read it, and I thought, well, I don't want to do this page for page, character for character adaptation, but if I flip this thing on its head, that becomes interesting to me because the book still exists. If you want to go read the book, go read the book. It's a really good book. But the series is its own thing, and you said it perfectly. It's the essence of the book and nothing more. And I thought, well, what if you take away all the bells and whistles? What if you take away the town? You take away all the characters, take away the set pieces, the big crazy stuff that happens in the book, and you just deal with the ground level, and I use this in quotations, reality of a family dealing with what happens in the book. And to me, that opened all the doors for me. It's the way to make it a long-form narrative where you're invested in these characters and you see where they go because you're with this family at all times. You're at ground level with them, experiencing this. And in that way, the audience experiences it with them. And that to me was really exciting. Now, there's two things. One, James Wan and his company needed to feel the same way.
Right.
And two, more importantly, Robert McCammon needed to feel the same way. And instead of asking for permission, I asked for forgiveness. I went and wrote a script, which is basically the episode one. Showed it to Atomic Monster and James, and they said, fantastic, we love it. And then we showed it to Robert McCammon, and he said, oh, wow, this is really cool. This is different. And he got on board. And those are the two voices that I needed to hear say yes before I could really invest. And we went from there.
Was there any nervousness because it I would say a lot of times in this industry, there's a lot of studio meddling, where you don't want to stray from the norm and you want to go with something that's always worked. So there's a bit of a risk in that. Was there any nervousness on your part, especially going to the man that wrote the book? Were you like, here's what it is and here's my vision for it?
There wasn't nervousness. I was excited about it, and I think that's and I was sure that as sure as I've ever been that it would work. Not that it was the right thing to do, but that it would work. And I think going into something, whether it's going to James or McCammon or to UCP or to Peacock, if you go in and you say, this is the thing, you want to get on board this thing because it's really cool, then if they don't, then it's not for them. It's not that it's bad. It's not that it's, but if you believe in it, it's going to show. And that, there's 1,000 reasons why they say no in this business. And I've been told no 1,000 times. So maybe that's part of it as well, that I'm not nervous because the worst thing is they say no. And then I go home and have a sandwich. Or they make it and I tell somebody else to get me a sandwich.
Right.
Yes.
I love that. And finally, just in the spirit of Teacup, so often there's so much amazing genre work that's overlooked. What is one of your favorite pieces, whether, a long form or a film that you feel is overlooked?
Oh man, I have the perfect example, but I can't remember what it's called. It's overlooked. Shoot. What is it called? It's so good. I can't think of it. Really hard. Because I know it, but I don't remember what it's called. I've seen it like 3 times. Something song. I don't remember. There's so many though. There's I don't know. Jeez, that's a hard question. This is gonna be my first failure in interviews today. What is it called? I don't remember what it's called.
All right.
I'm gonna remember it like in 5 minutes.
Exactly.
I'll find you.
There you go. Thank you.
Right. So sorry.
That's all right, Ian. Thank you so much. I really appreciate speaking with you.
All right. Good talking to you.
Ian McCulloch. I love what he's done with Peacock. It is a really great horror, like legit terrifying series. It's so good. As a horror fan, you should watch it. If you're looking for something spooky just for the Halloween spooky season, you should watch it. Jump right in. All right. Next up, Chaske Spencer and Rob Morgan. Chaske gained prominence as Sam Yulee in the Twilight films. He was also nominated for a British Academy Television Award for the BBC and Prime Video series The English. He's also been in Banshee, Sneaky Pete, and Blind Spot, among many, many others. Rob Morgan is known, all of his work, but, is probably best known for his role as Turk Barrett in the Marvel Netflix series. I'm a huge MCU fan, Marvel Studios fan, but he played Turk in Daredevil, Luke Cage, The Punisher, Jessica Jones, The Defenders, Iron Fist, and I loved every second of it. He also played Hap Jackson in Mudbound, Officer Powell, of course, in Stranger Things, and he is joining us with Chaske. So let's jump right into it. My conversation with Rob Morgan and Chaske Spencer.
Thank you both for speaking with me.
Thank you for having us, Kyle.
Of course. So first of all, I love Teacup. I'm a huge genre fan, but I think this is interesting because it works on many layers, not just as, genre work, but there's drama and family and all kinds of things. So I wondered if for both of you, that was also something that drew you to it, but, as an actor.
Oh man, it's special to get material like this where you actually get such quality writing with such in-depth characters that you can download and play without having to figure it out so much on your own, but actually like just taking the text in front of you and just really living it as honestly as possible. And it was a treat to have that.
Yeah, it makes our job easier to do what we need to do if the writing's spot on.
Mm-hmm. And had either of you read, I know it's inspired by the book, but had either of you read the book before you took on the role?
I read a little bit of it, but then I found out that what Ian did was take the essence of the book and create something on his own. So I just kind of put the book away and just right to the source.
Yeah.
And how about for you, Rob?
When I realized that they were doing something unique and special of their own that was like inspired by the book, but not totally going by the book verbatim, I just trusted in the scripts and my own research and went with that. So I didn't read the book, but I read the scripts.
Gotcha. And both of you have been involved in the Marvel universe, for instance, and all kinds of work all over in all kind of spaces in entertainment, film, content, television. What drew you to Teacup?
It was Ian. Ian. Yeah, his writing, all that.
Yeah, Ian, the opportunity to work with Peacock and seeing how much they've been investing in quality shows, and then with James Wan name at the top of it, knowing his resume and success, it just felt like a dream come true for an actor that really, put in hard work and time to get to this kind of material.
Mm. And for you, I was talking to Scott and Yvonne, and it popped up regarding isolation and how we've all kind of lived in isolation for at least a short period a few years ago. Has that affected you as an actor when you're doing something, in a script like this, series like this, where so much of it is based around isolation and that sort of thing. And we're kind of at a unique place in history where, there's not many points in history where you can say we were all kind of isolated. But then you have this series that comes along that is very much isolation is very much a part of the story. Does that affect you? Has that affected you? Are you like, yeah, now I had that on my resume, so I can, or are you able to just, it's in the script, and so I'm gonna do that?
I'm still isolated. I'm still living in isolation, so it hasn't changed for me. But it does. Things like that it does help. Like actors, I think anything you give us, we can absorb because we take it and do what we can with it. So it's just an added character.
Yeah,
Okay.
the experience. We bring the experience to the work. And
Mm.
then trust the directors to keep us in line with the tonality that we're trying to
Mhm.
execute here.
I love that. And for either of you, finally, we're talking about genre work, and I feel as a horror fan, I feel personally, I'm a film buff, obviously, but I love horror in particular. I often feel that there's some great work that's overlooked. Uh, just because, especially with so many critics and stuff, it kind of gets snubbed sometimes. And there's sometimes this feeling of or this air of like we're superior over that genre or something, which I think is a mistake. There's incredible work like Teacup that is very much in the genre vein, but is also so much deeper than a typical slasher or whatever. What if you could pick one of kind of those underlooked genre films for both of you, Rob and Chaske? What would that be for you?
Overlooked genre film. Can I go back to the 80s for Beat Street?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that was overlooked because for where I was at in my life and time, that was such a true depiction of culture that I really related to. But I would seem like I was the only one that liked it, or it didn't get no nomination, no nothing. But for me and my crowd, it was like the Bible at the time. You know what I mean? Beat
Wow.
Street.
That was
I
gritty
love that.
too, wasn't it? I remember
Yeah,
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Genre, I would say, I like noir.
Mm,
I'm a big fan of like black and white noir. I like
yeah.
stuff like that. I liked The Third Man.
Okay. All
And I
right.
know it's famous, but most people don't, unless you're a film buff, don't really know about that
Yeah.
movie. So I'm a big fan of that type of genre.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you both so much for speaking with me. I can't wait for everybody to see Teacup so I can talk about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for having
Thanks,
us,
man.
man.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Rob Morgan and Chaske Spencer. Love those guys. Love their roles in Teacup, which, again, exclusively on Peacock. It is so good. You got to watch it. It's really terrifying. It's like, how often do we get a really actually scary TV series? This is one of them. So check it out. All right. Next up, we talk with the two main stars themselves, Scott Speedman and Yvonne Strahovski. I talked about them a little bit more at the top of the show, but let's just jump right into it right now. Here they are, Scott Speedman and Yvonne Strahovski.
First of all, thank you both so much for speaking with me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. So tell me a little bit, both of you have done such varied roles, and you've both had some horror in your filmography. Why is it something that, something like Teacup, that why is that a genre that you'd like to go back to?
I don't know if I think of it as a genre that I like to go back to. I mean, every project is, case by case, really. So it depends on the script. It depends on the people involved. It depends on how much fun or challenge I'm going to have as an actor on it. And I think this one ticked all the boxes pretty much for me. I mean, it was a great piece of writing. Ian is such a lovely human being, and as a first-time showrunner, was just super thoughtful in how he wanted to approach this. And I think that's what attracted me to the project, is not that we had a showrunner who wanted to make some kind of a classic horror with all the gore and the thrill. He wanted to make a horror with an amazingly grounded foundation of relationships and family, and stuff that I think audiences can truly relate to, which sort of elevates the piece in a way that we might not often see. So, yeah.
Okay. And how about for you, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, somewhat of a similar answer. It's not like I'm, digging and searching and asking me a representation, find me the next horror thing or something in the genre space. I mean, these scripts came along when they did, and I knew of Ian's work from other things, and I was kind of really excited to see what he was going to do with something in this space, because his work previously that's not really what floats his boat. So when I got the scripts, I was really excited. He nailed the world really well and the family really well, and the idea of this family isolated on this farm in Georgia. I thought the drama of that whole situation alone was like really interesting, and I thought really going to be watchable for an audience. So when they started to add in the genre elements, and I knew James Wan's company was going to, be behind the scenes with us here, I thought, wow, this really could have something special going on. But I mean, it was honestly, man, they were good scripts, they were good scripts that came along, and you're always searching for stuff like that.
I love that. And, part of the reason that I love Teacup is that, I think at a very human level, isolation is a scary thing for many of us. We're, social creatures, and that alone is scary for so many people, and of course we've all recently collectively went through a very isolating, event that I think, tends to be on the back of our minds today now. And then you take that, and then you have this great script on top of it with, it's really, I love that there's drama. It's not just a slasher, or it's not just a straight up horror, series. It is very layered. And so, speaking to that, we are 4 years out from a worldwide pandemic, the beginnings of it. Does that change you as an actor? Now that you've kind of had this isolating experience, and now you're playing characters that are forced to be isolated. I feel like almost, if I was an actor, like it's almost like I have real life experience now with that. You know what I'm saying? Has that changed either of you?
I mean, for me, I think that whole situation changed all of us. So yes, collectively, of course. And I think we all have a different understanding of when something strange starts to happen, and then you include your neighbors and the other parts of the town you're in and all that sort of stuff. I think collectively we just sort of subconsciously understand that. And I think that's where some of the dread of this show comes in. And I think we all look at shows like this where you're not sure of what's happening to you, to your family, to the next family over, to that family over there, to your neighbors. So I think we all have an eerie, unsettled feeling around all that when we start to watch our show, you can't not help but feel some shared subconscious thing that's going on for the viewers. So yeah, I mean, on that level, but not something overt that, like, I read these scripts and I was like, oh, well, I know this now because of COVID or something.
Right.
It's something a little more subtle, but yeah, it's in there for sure.
Yeah.
How about for you, Yvonne?
I don't know. As Scott was talking, I just sort of thought, to add to that, it's interesting also to see how individuals, how dynamics play out in that circumstance. And certainly in real life, in a pandemic, we had a lot of different opinions about how things should be, or what was real, what wasn't. A lot of it political. So it's interesting to sort of bring it right down to this like microcosm, and have characters that were sort of representative of that greater world that we all lived in. So yeah, that's sort of what comes to mind when we're talking about this.
And finally, James Wan. I'm a huge fan of his, this is obviously based on a novel. Had either of you knew of the novel beforehand, or did you read it in preparation for filming Teacup?
No, I mean, given that all.
Yeah,
oh, sorry. No, I mean, given that Ian has always said this was the novel was an inspirational piece, but that a lot of it became different in how he had approached the show, and he kind of did that from the get-go. So I didn't really feel it necessary to read it. Otherwise, I probably would have. I usually would read something like that, but this might be the first time that I hadn't. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't read it either. He was like, I think that book is like a huge book. It's like this huge story that involves the whole town and, like many, 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 many characters. And he wanted to do a very much smaller story version of that, which I thought was a smart place to at least start the show. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, well, I love it. I can't wait for everybody to see it. Thank you, Yvonne and Scott. Teacup coming very, very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yvonne Strahovski and Scott Speedman. They are so good in Teacup, and Teacup is so good. You've got to watch it. It's available right now on Peacock. 8 half-hour episodes, and it's well worth your time. The final 2 episodes will be premiering on Halloween of 2024, so depending on when you watch this, it's either coming out, is out. It's either coming out or is out. So whatever one it is, there it is. I'm not making any sense, but you get it. All right, that's it for Teacup. Peacock series. Love it. Next up, we're going to take a break real quick, and then we're going to come back and talk to the filmmakers and the cast and crew. Talk to the filmmakers and Dylan O'Brien and Eliza Scanlen all about their film, Caddo Lake. Be right back in 60. All right. Thanks for hanging in there and supporting our sponsors that make this show possible each and every week and bring incredible interviews to you like the ones we're doing right now. Caddo Lake, we talked about it at the top of the show, but it's a film exclusively on Max, produced by the amazing M. Night Shyamalan, directed and written by Celine Held and Logan George, who are incredible filmmakers, and stars Dylan O'Brien, Eliza Scanlen, and Lauren Ambrose, who Lauren has been on the show a million times for Servant, the M. Night series, one of my favorite series of all time from Apple TV, another incredible spooky series that you need to watch. But let's get right into it. Let's talk with the filmmakers first, Celine Held and Logan George.
First of all, thank you both so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. Great to meet you.
Of course. Nice meeting you. So, first of all, how did this project come to be? I heard, and you can clear that if needed, but I heard that it came about from a photograph that you came upon from the actual lake. Is that accurate?
Reddit.
Yeah.
From Reddit. Of the lake on Reddit. On Earth Porn, subreddit Earth Porn. Saw this photo. It was May 2020. And we were just really like, what are we going to do next? Our first feature, South by Southwest had been canceled. Our first feature hadn't seen the light of day yet, and we felt very stuck. We also were in this place of not being able to see our family, and kind of this question, a very COVID-y question maybe in retrospect, but like we were really curious and thinking about our parents, especially, and like who they were before we were born.
My mom had passed away in 2019, and Colleen was talking about these conversations that she had with her and was bringing up these memories that she had spoken to Celine about. And I was like, I've never heard this. Like it doesn't even sound like my mom. And so it sort of prompted this question of like, how well do you really know your parents before they had this whole life before, they gave birth to you? And
so we grabbed my mom, we borrowed my mom's car because my parents were stuck in the house, and we drove down to Caddo from Brooklyn, and it did not disappoint. It was 3 million times more magical than that photo could have ever presented itself to us. And we met these incredible people and spent a few months living off the lake, writing that first draft. That was a mess. And then kind of came back to Brooklyn and got a big whiteboard and charted out another draft too.
I love that. Logan, I'm so sorry for your loss. I lost my mom 3 years ago, and my life has not been the same since.
Yeah.
And but I wonder how that, I know for me, when my mom passed, she passed from pancreatic cancer. I had to do something with it, and it seems similarly as creators, it seems like it's kind of what we do. So I called the president of iHeart and said, I have this idea for a show called Death, Grief, and Other Shit We Don't Discuss, and I'm going to travel around the country and find out everything that I can about the process of death and dying and the afterlife and all of it. And you guys are going to pay for it. And so I did. But it seems similarly from watching the film and talking to both of you that those things have kind of greatly influenced what you ended up with. Would you agree?
Oh yeah. Well, it's just like you're saying, it just changes you, forever. So it can't help but start to like be infused into your art and what you write. We definitely wanted to make something that was like propulsive and wrapped in this genre thriller that had like a ton of energy and was ultimately very, very entertaining. But yeah, like, the core emotionally comes from, something that happens very early on in the film to Paris, played by Dylan. And sort of everything is a ripple from this event that happens to him. So it was something that sort of, I think, was always there. In the first draft that we mentioned, it was a female character who had lost her mom. And kind of the big unlock coming back to Brooklyn for us was this idea of like, what if this is actually two protagonists? And that sort of like unlocked this whole new puzzle box that we could weave together, and was really like the guiding light of getting the script to where it was, that made it like really good and fresh. So, yeah.
And then, so now you have this draft, you're back in Brooklyn, you're kind of refining it. What happens from there?
What happens from there?
Go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just going to say that it was a very hard script to kind of iterate and rewrite, because you're so locked in the way that everything sort of loops back and feeds one another. Every scene, it was trickier than most sort of like straight storylines to rewrite. I remember that just being very challenging, because it's like, oh, if we want to change this thing, then you have to change these 6 things, and you don't have an ending anymore. It was like really, really tough.
But we shared, we were directing for Servant that following January, February, for Knight's TV show. And Knight just said, oh, if you ever have a feature. And we were like, oh, we do. Just gave him this feature that we had. And he called us in the next weekend and he said, I'm financing this. He was the first person to read it. It was really surreal. And we didn't spend a lot of time on the iteration process in pre-production, which I think and then in the post-production process, we spent a lot more time like reworking. And part of me is like, what would have happened? But like Logan said, it all would have fallen apart. And it took like actually being there. Eliza and Dylan had a lot to do with like who their characters became. Like every life of a project, the life of a project is in 3 parts. And you have to respect each piece. So like that production part is so different than, that you can write the best script ever and everything changes during production. Yeah. So to write a movie that was ultimately so complicated, everything changed anyway. Anyway, so what happened was the project is, I don't know, it works somehow. Maybe like some duct tape and super glue, but like it works.
I love it, and I love the film, and I love Knight. And Servant is one of my favorite shows ever. I covered, I covered it every season. I talked with the cast and Knight, and then came out to the series finale thing in New York, and did all that. It's one of my top 3 favorite shows ever, and I can never figure out which one is number 1 or 2 or 3. But what do you hope for once this is out there in the world? What are your wishes for it as you have given birth to it?
I hope people watch it and want to get in touch with family. People watch it and want to like call their mom. That would mean a lot to me. Yeah. I hope it. I hope that it can be something that's like when you rewatch it that you'll keep seeing these pieces that we really carefully put into the beginning.
Family.
That you wouldn't recognize first watch.
Yeah. Well, it's just that like some of these relationships we have in our family are so delicate, but like so strong at the same time, and sort of like just really appreciating that, like Celine's saying, like just like, hugging your mom or your dad or your sister, your brother, like just like that 1 second longer.
Or your chosen family. I mean, I think Ellie at the beginning, and it's even in the trailer, her saying, I'm not related to any of these people. Well, obviously, no spoilers, but yeah, there's something there. And like, we have our family. We also have our chosen family. We have these people that we choose to go through life with, and making sure that they are, totally aware how much they mean to us.
I love that. I can't wait for everybody to see the film exclusively on Max. Celine and Logan, thank you very much for speaking with me.
We can't wait to check out your podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Take care.
Bye.
Celine Held and Logan George. Incredibly talented creatives. I love them. I love their work with Topside and now Caddo Lake, and I can't wait to see what they do next. All right, we're going to speak next with Eliza Scanlen. She is incredible. She kind of broke out in the Australian soap opera called Home and Away. Then in the U.S., and really then the rest of the world, she broke through as a troubled teenager in the HBO miniseries called Sharp Objects with Amy Adams. She played Beth March in Little Women from 2019. She played 15-year-old Kara in M. Night's Old, who was in the incredibly powerful film The Starling Girl. She played Eleanor Roosevelt in The First Lady, and now she plays Ellie in Caddo Lake. Let's jump right into my interview with Eliza Scanlen. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. First of all, welcome to iHeartRadio's Pop Culture Weekly. I appreciate you joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, first of all, this film is so incredible. I love how layered it is, and I'm trying to be as spoiler-free as possible, but I love how, there's multiple things going on, if I can put it that way. What drew you to this film?
Good job on not spoiling anything. It's a hard one to do with this film.
Yeah.
What drew me to the project? First and foremost, I think Celine and Logan, the filmmakers, drew me to the project. They are really talented, unique, distinctive filmmakers. And when this film arrived in my inbox, I, did a deep dive, as you always do, on the filmmakers, and I watched their film Topside, and they've made so much stuff, but Topside, their film, and also their short film Caroline, were two things that blew me away. And I just knew, even from seeing their work, that I had to make this thing with them. And then I read the script. The script was unlike anything I'd read before. It was straddling two very different sensibilities, I think. Like, you've got genre mystery with naturalism, very grounded performances, family drama. So and I'd never done a kind of a film before where the plot was so like action driven. So there were just like a bunch of things that really excited me about the project. Yeah.
I love that. And that's one of the many reasons that I love watching it. It's just for all of the reasons you said and more. As you're filming, is it hard for you? I asked Dylan this as well. Is it hard for you to, knowing that there's knowing that what we know as the viewer, as you as an actor, is it hard for you to put certain plot elements away as you're shooting, or are you able to be like, okay, no, I'm in the here and now for this scene, or how does that work for you?
That's a really good question. I remember finding that really difficult when we were shooting because, I mean, there were even moments on set where, the people, us who, should be the ones who like know the thing back to front. And you think you do until, you get to a certain scene, you're like, wait, what am I meant to know right now? And like, what's happened? And who knows who? And yeah, it definitely messed with you a little bit. Just keeping track of the story. I did find that really, really difficult. But sometimes you kind of just have to throw that all away and be like, okay, I'm running down the street. That's what I'm doing.
And you had worked with M. Night, before, who he's one of my favorites ever. And you had worked with him in Old. How did you come into this? Was it through M. Night? Was it before and he just happened to come in? How did that work?
Well, he wasn't part of it initially, but as you know, Celine and Logan worked with Knight on Servant, and I came onto the project, and he learned about the project and wanted to support it and come on in a producing capacity, which I believe was the first time that he ever did that
For somebody else's film, right?
Yeah. And so it was a huge deal. I think it just like really kind of bolstered the film, and to have his kind of wisdom and guidance throughout the production and post, it was it was kind of like a unexpected serendipitous thing to happen. So.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, especially for you and Lauren, who of course was on Servant, which is one of my favorite shows ever. Yeah. So for you, you've done such varied work, Eleanor Roosevelt, and what is it like for you as an actor? I mean, obviously you get to choose your roles, but you get a script like this. Is it ever a conscious thing to be like, well, I've never done anything in that space before. Let me dive in and kind of flex my muscles? Or does it come down just to the script and the filmmakers for you? How do you kind of make that choice?
I think I'm always looking for things that challenge me, things that I haven't done before. It's very easy to quite quickly fall into the typecasting trap. And also I'm at an age where I can still play roles that are quite young. But I'm also reaching a stage where I can play characters that are a bit older. So I'm just constantly looking for, sometimes it's like because I'm 25 now, sometimes you're like, how many times can I play a coming of age film when I'm 25? But I just think it comes down to the story, and if it's trying to do something different, and if it feels like it's exploring a facet of yourself that you haven't quite explored yet, or if it's scary, that's usually a good indicator to do it. But I'm just about to do a play that's a comedy. And I don't really do comedies, and I'm a bit like, but it'll be great, because if it's scary, that means it's the right thing to be doing.
Right. And I know that you mean scary as in, out of my comfort zone immediately. Yeah. But as a huge horror fan, are you like a genre fan? Are you a horror fan, or obviously I wouldn't call this horror, but are you a horror fan?
I'm not.
Okay.
Because I am weak. And I don't really, I feel like obviously there's such a huge horror fan base. And horror is what keeps, movie theaters alive. And, but I think like the horror genre is totally expanding, which is really cool. And it's I guess like there was probably a day, probably 5 years ago, if you asked me whether I like horror, I'd be like, ugh, no, I don't like horror. But I feel like I've learned more about the genre, and I just feel like there's some really interesting things happening in horror at the moment. So it's certainly something I want to explore, that's for sure.
Oh, okay. And I love that, as a horror fan and as a testament to what you're saying, there are serious filmmakers that are, exploring in horror and kind of pushing the boundaries as creators and actors and, the whole teams of what horror means. And then you have all these kind of genre bending films and creators like M. Night who kind of, toes so many lines between so many genres that in many ways it's become, of course there's horror, but in many ways there's a blur between many of those things,
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's probably why, I mean, like straight horror is probably not something I'm like immediately drawn to, but like you're saying, the sort of genre bending stuff I think is really cool. And like that's where like Scanlan and Logan comes in. They're doing some really interesting stuff that I don't think has been really quite done before. So
I could see you in like have you seen The Others with Nicole Kidman?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you got to watch it. Like, who would think Nicole Kidman, of all people, is like in a horror movie? And it is a horror movie, but it's Nicole Kidman. But it's kind of like that genre bending, but it's so cool. And her performance is so elevated. And it just, I feel like, brings the genre up for everybody,
Oh, I'm such a big Nicole Kidman fan.
Yeah, you got to check it out.
Oh, I think she's so cool. And she does like, I don't know. I just think she's not she's open to everything and anything and takes risks, and that doesn't surprise me that she's done a full-blown horror film.
Yeah Well, and for you, for this film, I lost my mom 3 years ago to cancer. This film is in many ways, I was talking to the filmmakers, and Logan was saying he had lost his mom in the journey with this project. So much of this film for me as a viewer is about grief and what we do with that grief and that journey, and how, my grief journey of losing my mom is different than Logan's of with his mom, and different, it's also individualistic. What do you think the essence of Caddo Lake is?
I totally understand what you're saying about the grief journey. Everybody has their own journey with that, and it looks different for everyone. And I think that for Ellie, she's had to grieve, her dad not being in her life from a very young age, and that's something that she has to confront again and again. And and also she has, as a result of that, she has such a fraught relationship with her mother, and they have hurt each other in a lot of ways. And I think that's also a huge part of grief, is that when you lose someone, it's very easy to like carry the weight of that loss and use that as ammunition to hurt other people. I think that this film is trying to explore the life that your parents had before you were born, and the people that they were before you existed. And I think also it's a film about forgiveness too. I just think probably what I hope people take away from the film is like, finding a place in their hearts to forgive. And I think it's obviously very hard to do, especially family can be so complicated. But yeah, I think it's like the ending is quite hopeful. And it's like the beginning of a journey of like forgiveness within her Ellie's family. So yeah, it's quite a grounded like theme to take away from the film.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for speaking with me. I cannot wait for everybody to see Caddo Lake exclusively on Max. Eliza, thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Of course, you too.
Eliza Scanlen. What she does in Caddo Lake is incredible. I mean, she's an incredible actress anyway, but I really, really, you got to watch it, and you got to watch her performance. She's just so good. All right, last but not least for the show, I am once again, the incredible Dylan O'Brien returns. He was last on the show in 2022 to talk about the Hulu film Not Okay that he started. But in case you needed a reminder, he kind of broke through with Stiles Stilinski in the MTV series Teen Wolf. And, of course, he was the lead in the Maze Runner trilogy. He was Bumblebee in the Transformers film Bumblebee, and he's done an incredible amount of work everywhere else, from playing in Pony Boy. He plays Dan Aykroyd right now in Saturday Night, and he's won so many awards. So let's just bring him back right now. Dylan O'Brien. So first of all, Dylan, welcome back to iHeartRadio's Pop Culture Weekly. I appreciate you hanging out with me.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Have I been here before?
You have.
Fuck.
It's
That's
all
great.
good. It was
Good to be back.
Yeah, it was last year for a film you did. It was oh my God. You had blonde hair. I'm totally drawing a blank.
Oh shit. Okay. That had to be a couple years ago.
Oh, was it that long?
It's Not Okay.
Not okay. Thank you. There you go. And now you're back for this, so I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. But so, first of all, congratulations on the project. It is,
Thank you.
It's really great. It's a genre bending film that I'm in love with it. I wondered what drew you to it.
So many things. First of all, thanks. Really appreciate it. I guess I'll start with Celine and Logan, the filmmakers. They had sort of this eclectic array of these really dynamic short films that I was kind of sent a few years ago, 4 years ago now. I think it was 2020. And I just thought that they were so gifted, and I wanted to meet with them. And so we kind of just like Zoomed generally, and I really dug their vibe and their passion and their sensibility. And a year later, maybe even less, 8 or 9 months later, they sent me this project. Usually you take those general meetings, and then it's, even if you vibe with someone, it's so rare that something comes of it. They followed up and sent me this script. And the first thing that I opened was sort of some footage that they had gone down to Caddo Lake and shot with their DP. And so the first thing that I opened up was this stunning shot of this lake that I'd never seen before. And I was like, what the fuck is this place? And the sounds were so, I just was immediately sort of wow, what a cinematic element, to set something in. And then I dove into the script from there, and I just really, I was really drawn in by the grounded nature to the characters and the way that they were written and the way that the world was built. And it was sort of this family drama dripping with a little coat of mystery, and sort of spins into this heightened, sort of uses a divisive kind of supernatural element to kind of round out that story of the family drama, ultimately really about loss and love and family. And, I thought that was just fantastic.
Yeah, I was talking to the filmmakers yesterday, and they said that this all started from a photo they saw on Reddit, which I think is incredible, and then it spun into this. And speaking with Logan, he had lost his mom, and I had lost my mom. So we were, talking about that and how it turned into this piece for him on his end that was about this profound grief that they were able to make turn this into something that he was able to channel his grief through as the project happened. I do find it super interesting and I'm trying to be as spoiler free as possible, the back and forth. If you obviously you know what I mean, but how was that for you as an actor to be able to kind of know that these story-wise these two things are going on? Is it hard for you to kind of keep those? How do I say it? Is it hard for you to kind of organize those in your mind as an actor, or does it kind of muddy the waters a bit?
You know what? It's and I'm going to be careful too. God, this is really hard. It's one of those things you just, at the beginning of the movie, I was like, you know what? I need to put this out of my head and trust, Celine and Logan. That's at the end of the day, like they're tracking everything. I think if I tried to sort of be overly conscious about how these sort of intertwining like narratives link, I think it would strip away a lot of the grounded and like naturalistic nature that the film really runs on at the end of the day. It's fueled by this authentic sort of sense of realism and the spirit of this community and this environment. And I think I just needed to sort of like, as my character would, right, we're real people in these, what become very extraordinary circumstances. And I believe that just sort of staying grounded and honest in that was the recipe that the ingredients that the recipe required, like for the film, I guess, and sort of just trusting Celine and Logan's sensibility to handle the rest and to make sure that the narratives were cohesive and syncing and yeah, I guess that's my thought on that.
Okay, I love that. And finally, I'm a huge film buff, obviously, and I love M. Night is one of my favorites. He was a producer on the film. What was that like for you? You're a film buff yourself. What was that like for you? To be involved with I just feel like everything he touches is for me like so like amazing. How was that for you?
Well, he was. What a great champion to have come in and support these filmmakers, So I just think he's somebody who I agree with you. I see everything M. Night does. I love that he self-finances and really believes in autonomy for a filmmaker. And so when we were sort of attached to this script and sort of about to take it out to financiers, because that's kind of how it came together. Celine and Logan got hired to do a couple episodes on his show, and he just fell in love with them because they're so infectious and talented and passionate. And he just begged to know like what was next for them, if they had anything in the pipeline, if they'd written anything, and they gave him this, and he was like, I want to finance this. I want to like help you guys make this, So it was sort of like incredible news. We were like just about to take the movie out as like an independent feature with Eliza and I attached, and we immediately got financing from M. Night. It was going to be, and it was I'm pretty certain the first project that he financed outside of one of his own directorial efforts. And just what a gift to have that type of producer, in the kitchen, right? Because I think the main concern would be, particularly with these like talented filmmakers, would be like, okay, well, hopefully we don't end up somewhere where they're being really micromanaged, or like we're not, being allowed to take the swing ultimately that we creatively want to be taking, so it was really great to have such a seasoned filmmaker in his own right come on as a producer and be there to support these young and gifted filmmakers, and let with, sometimes the best support is space, sort of like allowing them to, flourish, and that setting the environment for them and giving them the resources they need, and then like go, do what you guys do, and get out there, evolve, learn. You know what I mean? It's going to be their biggest feature that they've done yet, and but they're so fantastic, and they grew a lot throughout the shoot, like we all do every time out, and it was great having M. Night as our champion for that.
I love that. Dylan, thank you so much for speaking with me. I can't wait for everybody
Absolutely.
to see it so I can talk about it, first of all.
Yeah, for sure. We really care a lot about this one. So yeah, I really appreciate your questions and your passion for it, and spread the word. I hope people check it out. I hope it catches a little bit of fire.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Cheers. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Dylan O'Brien. Thanks, of course, to Dylan and everybody else who came and talked to me. Caddo Lake is out right now on Max. I highly recommend the film. And Teacup is out right now on Peacock. I highly recommend that series. Let me know what you think. Hit me up on socials, or if you're listening to Pop Culture Weekly on the iHeartRadio app, you can use that talkback button, and it sends a voicemail right to me with your voice. So go ahead and use that, and you may just be featured on the show. Until next week for another very spooky episode of Pop Culture Weekly, I'll talk to you then. I love you. We out.
Thank you for listening to Pop Culture Weekly. Hear all the latest at popcultureweekly.com.
It's a spooky, spooky episode of